using the translator. Big picture, read the word. Everybody's reading the definition, see if you can match it with the word. If you turn your Chromebook up to study and close it, we don't need it anymore. Where do you go to keep the computer definition? Where do you go to keep the definition? All right, so what do you think? An account in a bank that allows the customer to deposit money, make withdrawals, and make transfers from the funds and deposit. What would you say number one is, Miguel? What's your question for me? All right, so what's number one? What do you think, Taj? An account, say it again? Checking account, yeah. My board turned off. What's number two? A written order used to tell a bank to pay money and transfer funds from an account to a check holder. You got it? Check. The process of moving funds electronically from an account in one bank to another kind of very quick and efficient process. What do you think that one is? Benjamin? Nope. What do you think, Darby? EFT, right? So remember, electronically versus electronic fund transfer. That was like when I was in college a long time ago. We learned about some businesses doing that. We had no idea what that was. It seems like a very far-fetched thing to us. But yeah, electronic fund transfer, that's what the FTC is. The checking account doesn't have enough money in order to cover the amount of a check for the balance in it. To cover the amount of a check for the basic payment clearing general. Check clearing, right? And a record of all transactions in your checking account, and it can be electronic or handwritten. That one is your statement. That one is check register. Your check register. Okay? Anybody heard of what happens if your check doesn't clear? What do we call that? Layman's language, what do you say? You write a check and you don't have enough money? It bounces, yeah. All right, go to the vocabulary 2. You guys look through them real quick and see if you can fill in the blank. Three people. So we're doing the vocabulary exercise number 2. 5 words, 5 definitions. Not graded the test yet. I will make a concerted effort to have them graded by Friday. I do a geometry test I'm grading right now. but I'll try to have this treated like correctly. A person, the person who receives money is what? What do we say the person who receives the money out of these 5 words? What do you think that is? Layla? The payee. Who's the person that pays money? What do we call them? The payor, right? So the payor and the payee. If I write a check to Evan, I'm the payor, he's the payee. You fill out a blank deposit cash or checks into your account with a bank teller. What do we call that? Joseph? Sorry? Yes. Yep. Deposit slip. Blank is used to deposit payroll or government checks directly into your account. So which one of these is directly into your account? Maggie? Direct deposit. Funds can be put on blank in the account to ensure that a debit or scheduled transaction will clear when the time comes. What do you think that one is, Samaya? Hold. And when you run a withdrawal transaction and don't have the money to cover it, and maybe you're rejected by the bank for blank, and usually there's a fee associated with those. Last one, insufficient funds, and that's what we call it, you say that your check bounce. We don't write that many checks anymore, but it's the same thing. If you spend more money than you have in your account, your bank is almost always going to charge you, and they don't always pay that either. So they just will charge you because they have to reject the payment. Let's do these real quick. Everybody look through these. Giselle, you want to use your translator for that one? That was possibly the politest sneeze I've ever heard in my entire life. As compared to mine, it sounds like a bomb went off. Okay. Everybody had a chance to look. I'll give you another minute. Well, half a minute. All right. Some banks offer blank to cover a check or debit, usually with interest. In the event of insufficient funds, the money must also be repaid. What do you think, Jeremiah, for number 1? Yeah. So most of the time, the bank will not pay if you spend more money, but if you pay a fee and you have a certain type of account, certain contract with them, they will pay it, but then they will usually charge you for that. And it's usually really expensive. Back in the old days, when I had used my checking account like that fee was like $35. So if I didn't keep up with my money, I wrote a $10 check and made me overdraws, which is what they call when you don't have any money left in your account. I'd have a $10 check. They wouldn't pay my check, and I had to pay $35 to the bank for them not paying my check, which really is expensive. Come on. Just use that one for now. That one better? Some banks charge a blank to keep it open and manage your account. What do we call that? Ariel? No? Maintenance fee. Word number 2. Yes, maintenance fee. That's right, Nicole. Good job. Some banks pay blank when checking accounts or savings accounts, which is money that you earn for lending the bank your money, keeping it in an account with them. Interest is also paid on you if you borrow money from the bank. So, Kimberly? Interest, yeah. An account with only one person who has access to it is a what, Amani? Amani, put yourself up, honey. We're not on there right now. What's number 4, Amani? Yes. Single account. An account where multiple people have access, all who may access the drawing deposit funds in this joint account. I have a joint account with my husband. Sometimes when you're young, you have a joint account with your parents. All right. Debit credit. It's important that we know the difference between the two. One represents money deposited in your account, and one represents money that's subtracted or withdrawn from your account. The money withdrawn from your account, do you think it's a debit or a credit? Joseph? Debit. Good job. And money deposited in your account is a credit. I find those are a little bit confusing. Maybe try to remember if it is confusing to you. A credit is something good. I want to get credit for something, right? We all like to get credit for something, and we all like to have money deposited into our account, right? Debit means it's coming out of our money, so my balance is decreasing. D for debit, D for decreasing. Maybe a way to help you remember it. Okay. Debits are deductions. Credits are additions to your account. The question here says to find out how much was in her account after there was a deposit made. So in order to find out how much in her account had to make a deposit, we have to know how much money they start with. So they call that the beginning balance, right? So it says here that Jackie deposited an $865.98 paycheck, a $623 stock dividend check, a $60 rebate check, and $130 in cash into her checking account. Her original account balance was $278.91. Assuming the check cleared, how much was in her account after the deposit was made? So all of these amounts, except for her account balance, are credits to her account. So all of these things get added to her starting amount, and then that was her paycheck, then her stock dividend check, then her rebate check, and $130. Add those all up, and that would be the amount in her account after the entire deposit was made. She deposited it all at one time, so we consider that one deposit. Oh, I did not do that. And so after all the deposits, she has $1,967.89 in her account. You writing what I'm writing? We're going to move on pretty quick, but I'll come back to it in a moment. So read the next example, example 2. Which of those items are the beginning balance? Which of those items are debit? Which of those items in that problem are credit? So read example 2. If you're done with this one, read example 2. Read example 2. And see if you can tell which of those amounts are debit, which of those amounts are credit. In example 2. Here we have a joint checking account. Their balance at the beginning of October was $9,145.87. During the month, they made deposits totaling $2,783.71. Wrote checks totaling $4,871.90. Paid a maintenance fee of $12 and earned $11.15 of interest on the account. What was the balance after the end of the month? So, is this a credit or a debit? Is $9,145 a debit or a credit? It is not. It's the beginning balance, right? Is this amount $2,783.71? Is that a debit or a credit? Say it again. Credit. There's deposit, so that's a credit. So C for credit. We wrote checks totaling they wrote checks totaling $4,871.90. Is that a credit or a debit? It's a debit. It decreased their amount. It goes out of their account. They paid a maintenance fee of $12. Is that a debit or a credit, Jeremiah? Debit. And they earned $11.15 in interest. Is that a debit or a credit, Kevin? Credit. So, start with the beginning balance, add the credit, subtract the debit. Beginning balance, the first deposit, or the first credit was the deposit, so we added that. Then the first debit were the total checks, The maintenance fee was the next debit, so it's subtracted. And if you earn something, that means you're getting money. You add that. Do the math. You can do that straight across in your calculator. Yes, this is the word you would show for that. What do you put in the calculator? So make sure you're showing work for your own problem. And so year-end and balance at the end of October or after this deposit. And yes, this is at the end of October. Their statement, $7,056.83. Once you get it written, read the next example. Do you know what the debit and credit are in that example? Or is it going to be adding money to your account, your balance, or reducing your account? Is your account, are those values going to be increasing your balance or decreasing your balance? Anna has a checking account at Garden City Bank. Her balance at the beginning of February was $5,195.65. During the month, she made deposits totaling $6,873.22, wrote checks totaling $7,869.92, was charged a maintenance fee of $15, and earned $6.05 in interest. What was the balance at the end of the month? So, Darby, is this amount a debit or a credit? Is it going to increase or decrease your balance? Credit. So if you wrote checks, is it going to add money to your account if you wrote checks? No. So it's going to decrease the amount. D for debit, D for decrease. So that's a debit, right? This one, deposits totaling, so deposits increase your balance, right, Darby? Is that a debit or a credit? Yeah. The maintenance fee, Kakai, is that a debit or a credit? You're going to increase the amount? Yeah, very good, a debit. And you earn $6.05 in interest. Eldred, is that a debit or a credit? Right. So add the credit, subtract the debit. Start with your beginning balance, add your deposit, subtract the total amount of checks you wrote, subtract the maintenance fee, add the interest you earned. And at the end of the month, Anna would have $4,200 in her bank account. All right. This is a deposit slip. I'm going to speed up because I know I've got one of our tables is a duplicate. While I'm thinking about it, the very last example is going to be part of your homework. So you're going to complete the last example as part of your homework before you scan and submit your notes. We're going to move through it pretty quickly because I know I'm running out of time. Allison currently has a balance of $2,300 in her checking account, which she deposits to $425.33 paycheck, a $20 rebate check, and a personal check for $550 into her account. She wants to receive $200 in cash. So this slip, a deposit slip, tells the bank what to do, how much money you're depositing, and also if you want cash back, you can do that too. This box is for depositing cash. Allison did not deposit cash, but we are leaving that box blank. That line will stay blank because she's not depositing cash. So you're writing this. And then each of these lines up here above the subtotal, these are your deposits. And you list the deposit, the checks that you deposit separately most of the time. Sometimes you can lump those together. Most of the time, our deposit slips are digital. A lot of times you don't even need a deposit slip anymore. But it's important if you happen to have to walk into a bank to deposit your money somehow that you are allowed to slip. Tell the bank what to do with your money that you're trying to deposit. So in this case, this is their paycheck. This is their rebate check. This is a personal check they're depositing. They did not have any cash to deposit, but they're depositing all these checks, and they want the bank to give them some of that money back. They wanted to give them $200 in cash for spending money. So we subtotal. That means we add everything, all the deposits. And this is less cash. Less means subtract, remember? So minus $200. And so the balance for the total deposit is going to actually go into our account. This is $795.33. Now, that is not her new balance. That is the amount of the deposit. Right, so this is the total deposit. So her account balance would be the $2,300 plus $795.33. So the new balance in her account would be $3,095.33. Got everything? Okay. Another deposit slip. Mark has a balance of $1,200 in his account. This does not go in the deposit slip. He deposits his paycheck, $387.12. He deposits a dividend check, $437.12. A personal check for $250, and he wants $400 cash back. So before we do that, we're gonna find the sum of his check, $1,074.24. Now he wants $400 in cash back, so that's going to reduce the amount of his deposit by $400. So this is the total amount of deposit. We have to add that to his previous balance, and then add the $1,200 to the $674.24. So this is his new balance. Okay. This is a check register. This is just where you keep track of how much money you put in, how much money you spend out of your account. So you're managing your finances and you're not overdrawn. You don't spend more money than you have. Always start with the balance, your beginning balance right here from page to page. This is not necessarily an end of statement or end of the week. Once you fill up the previous page, you bring down the balance. So we have a balance here. You put that balance at the top of the next page. So that's what this is. So from this page, right now, the balance is $3,672.27. So that should start with that balance. We add all our deposits, we subtract all payments. Now, when we do that, we have a payment column and a deposit column. So if I'm subtracting money from my account, it always goes in this column. If I'm adding money to my account, it always goes in the deposit column. And from each line, we make sure we keep a running balance. That means we subtract after each line. So here, this tells us that Nick wrote a check number 3271 on May 5th to the auto body shop here. And this is how much it cost him, $1,721, I think it says. We would not put that in the deposit amount because it's not increasing his account. So when we put it in that spot, now we know we're subtracting. It's this minus this to give us this. All right, for every line, we're doing the math. If it's in this column, we're subtracting. If it's in this column, we're adding. He wrote another check for the guitar, for guitar strings. $32.60. That money is coming out of his account. That goes in his payment column. So once again, we know that now he's going to take this balance, subtract the $32, and he'll have his running balance. He deposited his paycheck, it says here, on May 9th. It is nice to make yourself some specific notes about what your deposits are, what your fees are, who the checks were made out to. His check was, I can't see it, $827.53, I think. Once again, you take the balance in the line before, you add that, and that would give you your balance to the next line. These are both subtractions, so they get subtracted. Now, the E stands for electronic transfer. Electronic transfer, so it's not going to have a check number. This is getting directly pulled out of a bank account or, digitally paid from their checking account. So there's no check number. So you definitely want to put what it's for, the date that you know it's coming out of your account, and then this gets subtracted from the previous balance. The $138.90 is your cable bill. The last payment on this page is the check register, and so the ending balance here on this page is $2,499.90. It's May 10th. It's not an end of month balance. It's just literally end of that page balance. Okay. 7 is a duplicate, so we're not doing that one. But 8 we are going to do, and it looks like a lot, but we're just looking at what happened and filling it in. This is the beginning balance here. And so that's what goes up there. If you write a check, you write check 116, that's going to be in your payment column. I'm really trying hard to drag that off. No, I'm not doing it right. There we go. Still not doing it right. Even Eldred is frustrated with my poor attempt. Okay, so B, you write a check 115. We want to make sure we date. What day did we write that check? What do we write that check for? How much was that check? It goes in our payment column, right? And then we know we subtract that amount. We subtract $18 from our beginning balance here, $219. C says we deposit a check. We won't have a check number, but we will have a deposit date. And we put paycheck here. You could write deposit, but really paycheck, and we're going to put it in the deposit column. Making sure that you put the date in. They told us at the top, if we use an ATM, we have to remember to go to $2.25 ATM fee. So if I withdraw on 11/5 $20 from the ATM, I put that in there. It's always a good idea to put what you spend your money from the ATM on, so you can remember, oh yeah, no one stole $20 from my account. I forgot. I got a snack when I went to the sporting event. And $20 withdrawn. I forgot to cover my balance here. So for every line, you're doing your balance. So after the $20 ATM withdrawal, that's your balance, so we can't forget. The same day we make the ATM withdrawal, we have to remind ourselves that they are going to deduct that $2.25 fee. So we subtract that from our running balance as well. Each of these lines, we're paying our credit card bill, putting the date, who we paid it to, the amount, and subtracting that again. If we make a payment, it goes in the payment column. Oh, and we forgot to put the check number there. I forgot to put the check number. It was check 116, I believe. We're going to make sure we put the check number. Next one is your sister writes you a check. If someone gives you a check, you don't put the check number, right? But it is a deposit. You put where you got the money from, the date you got it, and you add that amount to your balance. Another ATM fee. We're going to make sure we give ourselves a note what that charge is for. Put the deduction in our column, the payment column. How's the flowers? You bought someone flowers. How nice of you. Maybe you bought yourself flowers. That would be great too. And you subtract that. Don't forget though, if you use your ATM card, you're going to also deduct that fee from your balance. And last but not least, you got a birthday check. Don't forget to add 8 to your register before you submit your notes, and don't forget to do example 9. That was part of your homework along with your worksheet.